folks. This is Lila with some bedtime stories, and I'd like to share them with you. With me tonight is Dean Val and our dear friend Tim von Pinnon, and I'll be reading from Book 6, Your Dream Visions by Dwayne, the Great Writer. And we'll discuss the chapter, and then we'll ask you or anyone else that would like to participate on what I've just read. It'd be good to get your ideas here, but we'll be here, and this is going to be a fun evening. And Ariana is also going to be on tonight. Maybe. So we have lots of wonderful things here tonight. So stay tuned. It's only going to get better. Okay. The reality of the real you is unchangeable, but always open to continuous, evolving expansion of its real awareness. The personal psych self can be changed and manipulated according to the awareness of the person residing in the body. Even though a person is gaining knowledge and experience on the level, they are not really acquiring real experience according to the true reality, as only the real universal guides can accommodate such proceedings. All that can be understood and had at that lower level is very minuscule compared to the real and total awareness of a person's true ability. Of course, the human ego will not see it this way, as it will always defend its position of learning and what it has been educated with and by whom. The so-called great scholars of history and present day have their way with the personal survival and knowledge of this world, but not of the worlds beyond, which they mainly guess about and create all kinds of philosophies and theories as to what they might be. As human history continues, the barrage of seemingly endless information and formulation of his so-called facts and figures is unsurmountable, and at the same time overly confusing. This does not have to be so, as those who are the new you students of the real guides can attest to. The new you students starts to experience the sorting out of all the phenomena, and the personal self has been given over the lifetime spent here, starting with their dream visions and then filtering down to their personal world. Even though there is so much to see and do here, when all is said and done, what is it that we are really here for? Is it to follow regulations and commandments and to strive to survive? Or is it really to become more aware and perceive the real freedom that is already available with our real awareness? As the psych self can be changed or modified to better understand and receive proper information and instruction from the real connection with the soul light reality, it will always be according to the individual nature. Life itself is always waiting, you might say, and that is the real you to make the decision to rise above the psychic planes and experience reality as it really is. The task and training to become more aware is a very big accomplishment, and so great patience and practice is required, as I have personally seen so many come and go because they do not keep up with all the avenues of experience that they must go through to succeed. As I came into this life, I was taught at an early age by Rivazar and others. Then when it came time for the personal self to get involved, I met with Paul Twitchell's presentation. Just prior to meeting Paul, I was involved with several different gatherings which led me up to Paul. This was the starting point of my process with life. As Paul taught his presentation, I became very involved because I knew for me this was real, as Rivazar showed me at the time. When Paul left, there was another who came in for that time period and did what he did. Of course, there was controversy, but I saw it as part of the adventure. There were many who left the teaching then, and so as the years went on, things began to reveal themselves with this fellow as he eventually left. The next man was going to straighten things out, as that was the plan, until the influence came along and seductively persuaded him to see things her way, mainly without his full perception of what the most adventurous story ever, and who would ever believe it. Well, here's the fun part. Only those who decide to explore and have the real guides show them what has and is taking place right now will ever know. All along, this has been the great adventure for me, even though it has been a lot of heartache and consistent adjustments to the final hour. You might say, is here with all I have been through to finally bring the new presentation into its form. Does somebody want to say something about that?
Yeah, hi Lila and Tim and Ariana. This is Val. And this is a huge process, I'm finding out. Everything is here, though, for us. All the building blocks for us to become more aware. Everything is here now. We just have to go through the process, and that's a big undertaking. But some of us are doing it, and it makes sense to those who are doing it because it's so real and it's so purposeful that there's nothing really out there that I've seen that compares to it. Ain't no spiritual path, religion, or philosophy, or anything, job, relationship, anything that compares to it. So why not get on board and go for it? That's the way I feel.
That's right. You really have to make up your mind to go for it. Unless you just want to stay in the same old rut, same old. Here's an adventure. Try it out. Only with the real experiences I have had with the real side, with the boys, along with my persistence to record the new history of the is on Earth, I have now established a basis for what the all is is and wants unaware souls to know, so that they might have the opportunity to become new you. Everyone must start somewhere, and so of course they will start with religion or similar things. Any of these areas has a real danger, especially in today's marketing ploy. This world, even though the public view of them seem friendly, helpful, and harmless, as does Monsanto, GMOs, tech foods, and the vaccines, most doctors prescribe these. They are just like anything here. Once you get to know them, you see them for what they are. Paul recommended each person belong to nothing at all, simply because they would have to shed their conditioning of them to finally see the real light. With the encumbrances of the five bodies and the ideas constantly formulated by the mind, a person has a lot to deal with, as they must view through their limited considerations, along with the secondary vehicles that they are working with. And so it becomes a prismatic view of distortion, unless the individual has real experience to compare with their own personal situation and what they're looking to accomplish. Anything less than the real truth and the real freedom is a waste of time and only leads to more drudgery under the submission of the reps systems. There are so many who profess to be able to adjust a person to something better than what they are, and this can be so from the arena of our physical experience only. A fat man can get thin, a poor man can get rich, and an ignorant one can become brilliant. But the arena of these is really a very small thing compared to all the awareness of ourselves. All techniques used from this level of awareness are basically of a psychic nature, some more than others. The key ingredient is the real connection and what it entails, along with what a person chooses for their survival here. All we do here carries a responsibility of sorts. There is a scale of action that exists here, and within the three lower levels, it's best to become familiar with how this works. Otherwise, one stays with the status quo and on a road that continues to circle the globe until this life is done, and then the same process starts all over again. The real guides use every means to unravel the entwined consciousness of a person so that they can begin to see their own plight. If they do not wake up to where they are at, a person is great responsibility is involved, and those who experiment with people and their dreams and other psychic bodies. The old saying, birds of a feather flock together, is true in the sense of each person deciding who they want to hang out with. In the real universes, a totally aware being is like the wind, a vaporous, shadowy being that is all into what is real. From the human mind and emotions, the real, true reality of life seems so foreign and strange, which is understandable. In one of Paul's books, The Tiger's Fang, he briefly decides and describes the higher levels of life. To many, what he wrote about was more of a fable and a fantasy than reality. Fortunately, what really seems to be like the childhood fantasies of us had, and this world is a physical existence with all its flaws and shortcomings, has become a solid reality for so many. Here again are the flux of each species deciding where they want to nest. The conditioning systems want each person to be just like everyone else, law-abiding citizens and hard workers for the establishment. The world of today is based more upon robotics than is anything natural and real. If the certain few who already rule the world had their way, they would make everything blacktop and there would be no windows in the buildings for 9-to-5 workers to look out from. Everything around us is being created. It's a hint as to what to come from all the causes that are taking place now. This is a passing dream, and each person here fully decides their involvement as to what they want to create for themselves. Even with all the processed fronts, most people will glaze over the reality of what is taking place. Everything really is okay. And if this is where a person wants to stay, they have the right to do so. The new presentation, which I have created, has a great opportunity for people to become more aware, can only provide the information and knowledge as a reference and not an actuality, as is the true reality, the all is. So, with this in mind, each person on the planet is given a sort of grace period to decide if they're interested in real guidance or not. Those who choose to stay as they are and live as they have before and listen to the influence that rules the lower psychic planes, they will experience the end result of their choices, no matter what they may determine it with their minds, or what the authoritarians tell them is the truth, according to officially contrived doctrines and pretty words. All of what I'm presenting now then becomes a warning for the humans of this little planet in deep, dark space, and is so in no way prediction of doom, as each person decides their own fate. To have real guidance is a real gift. This is real now. Does someone want to comment on that? Ariana, what do you say?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I don't know what else to say about it. I was really happy to meet a lady who was pretty much aware today, and I gave her a New You card, and she thanked me. And that was the first time I really met someone that was kind of right on about things. Most people are just so asleep. It's just amazing. So we continue on with what we do with the new you.
That's right. We're just not going to give up. We're going to keep on presenting this. And those that are interested are certainly going to follow this. And they'll see the adventure that this holds.